Hey, it's Neville here, and today we're going to talk about how to create a great tagline for your business. But the first thing you should know when creating a tagline is that the most commonly cited examples of taglines are gigantic companies. For example, Apple, Think Different, Coca-Cola, Open Happiness, Nike, Just Do It. The taglines you'll typically see cited are that of enormous brands. That's the problem with these examples. They're huge public companies. Apple is above $700 billion. Coca-Cola is nearly $200 billion. Nike is over $100 billion. Every single one of these examples has been around for decades and is worth billions of dollars. Yet somehow people think their much smaller business should have equally vague brands as these gigantic companies. Well, before we build our own billion-dollar brand, we might want to start off a little smaller. What you might not know is that a lot of those previous companies had different taglines at different points in history. So whenever the company was small, it was a different tagline than when the company was big. So let's create our own tagline that evolves over time from a $0 a year business to a $1 billion a year business. So imagine that you and I are going to start a copywriting agency that will eventually become a huge international marketing agency. Well, when we are a $0 a year business, before we get a single client, our tagline would probably be something like, "Hey dude, I can help you with your copywriting." It's just something very simple and to the point that describes what your business is. When we are at a $10,000 a year business, maybe our tagline could be, "I can help you with a web page and copywriting." Cool, now we're growing. Now we're getting to a $100,000 a year business. Now our tagline can be, "Let us help get customers to your business." Okay, now since we're a $100,000 a year company, we're doing a few more services than just copywriting and website design. We're getting customers to people's businesses. Now we have really grown and we're at $1 million a year. So now our tagline could be, "The trusted agency for offline businesses." See, that's pretty descriptive, but still equally vague since we do so many services now. Now, my friend, me and you are doing $100 million a year. So our tagline could be something like "Marketing on Point." And we want our tagline to be a little bit vague because at $100 million a year, we're doing a lot of different stuff for companies. We're taking care of their SEO, their websites, their copywriting, their ad agency part, a lot of different things. And now when we get to $1 billion a year, our tagline can be very vague and aspirational, and it could be something like "Tell the world." Because you're telling the world about your product and we handle all aspects of that. So as you can see, from a $0 a year business, our tagline was, "Hey dude, I can help you with your copywriting." And at $1 billion a year, the tagline was "Tell the world." At that very beginning stage when we're at $0 a year, having a vague tagline such as "Tell the world" would be really useless to us. However, once we start closing those gigantic deals, have that fancy office on Fifth Avenue in New York, and handle the marketing for Fortune 500 brands, then maybe "Tell the world" is a way more appropriate tagline. So yes, when you're at the level of a very large business, your tagline will often be something short and clever and aspirational. However, if you're not there just yet, here's a quick formula to follow. Here is the 3-step process for creating a great tagline. Step 1, you dump out your entire business in a few sentences. So write it all down. Whatever you need to write it down. Step 2 is trimming that down. And step 3 is trimming that down to under a sentence. So let's jump into some examples of how we would do this. So our first example is going to be sumo.com. So step 1 would be to dump out the entire business in a few sentences. So that would sound like, "We create tools that go onto any web page that help promote and share your website to get more traffic through several tools. Share buttons, welcome mats, pop-up email collects, and more. We make these tools really easy to use." Okay, now step 2, we got to trim some of that down because that's a really long tagline and we can't just write that everywhere. So let's trim it down into about a sentence. And that would sound like, "Tools that go onto your web page to help promote and share your website to get more traffic." All right, now we're cooking. Now that's, real short and sweet, but we need to get it under a sentence. So let's trim it down some more. And it comes to this. Step 3, trim it down some more. We got tools to grow your website's traffic. Now that is a very short, sweet, and explanatory tagline that we can use everywhere. Another example is WP Engine, the big WordPress host. So if we were to do step 1 on their business and dump out the entire business in a few sentences, it would sound like this. It's really cheap to host a WordPress site, but when something goes wrong, your host will be nowhere to be found. Also, WordPress gets hacked if you don't upgrade it or choose poorly designed plugins. That's where WP Engine comes in. Okay, now step 2, we got to trim that down to make it into about 1 sentence or so. That would sound like, WP Engine makes hosting a website on WordPress super easy. We're like the perfect website host. Okay, step 3, we got to trim that down just a bit more to under a sentence. And that would be WordPress hosting perfected. That is a beautifully short tagline that describes what the whole company does. One more example is of WeWork, the big co-working company. So step 1 would be to dump out the entire business in a few sentences, which would sound like, WeWork is a community space where people can co-work together or rent larger private offices. We let you do what you love by providing the fast internet, bathroom facilities, coffee, beer, and meeting spaces, and you do what you love. Now, step 2 of that would be we have to trim that down to about a sentence. So it'd be a community space where you can focus on what you love doing, and we will handle all the hassles of running an office. And then if we were to go for the gold and trim it down to under a sentence, it would be summarized into do what you love. You see, my friend, you got to think of your tagline like a headline for your business. Your tagline will often be placed on things like flyers, stationery, outdoor signs, business cards, website headers. These are items that only have a quick shot at getting someone more interested. For this reason, the only job of your tagline is to get attention and explain what your company does. Now, ideally, you want your tagline to explain what you do, but the ultimate would be to have your tagline actually make a sale on its own. For example, here's my all-time favorite tagline, and it's from Geico. You know the little gecko guy? The Geico gecko? And the tagline is, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Geico has gone through all sorts of cutesy characters as their spokesman, but their tagline has remained the same. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. This tagline kicks butt because it's jam-packed with important stuff and only about 10 words, and it actually can make a sale just from the tagline. I mean, that gecko really knows what he's doing. So for a moment, let's just compare the brilliant Geico tagline to a few of their top competitors in the insurance space, State Farm and Allstate. So State Farm is like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Okay, that's kind of cool. Allstate is you're in good hands. Okay, interesting. But Geico's is in 15 minutes, you can save 15% or more on car insurance. I mean, without having previous experience of knowing what these companies do, would you have any clue what they sell based off their taglines? No, only Geico's. So bravo, Geico. Your tagline could be used for a $100 a year insurance business or a $50 billion a year insurance business. So remember, when making up your own tagline, remember this 3-step formula. Step 1, dump out your entire business in a few sentences. Step 2, trim it down. And step 3, trim it down to under a sentence. I really hope this helps, and I hope you learned, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll subscribe to Copywriting Course and check out some of our videos. Maybe sign up to our email newsletter. It's really, really good, and we send you free stuff like this all the time. And as Neville Medora, I am out.